interesting thing about the first day on the Somme, to me it represents, on one day, everything about the First World War that makes what happened in the First World War so problematic even 100 years later. And that is great loss of life, trench warfare, heavy artillery bombardment. But really it's about that this was the darkest day for the British Army. And on an average day in the First World War, the British were losing about 300 people, not even during an offensive, but just that was common wastage on a day when there was no offensive. But on the first day of the Somme, there were more than 60,000 casualties, and British, and 20,000 of those were killed. So in some ways, the first day of the Somme epitomizes the First World War, I mean, in my mind. I didn't want to draw something static. I thought I wanted to draw something that would have a narrative, and I realized that's also possible even in a single image, because if you read from left to right, you can sort of tell a story. You can show the progression of time. And my model for that was the Bayeux Tapestry, the famous tapestry that shows the invasion of England by the Normans in 1066. One of the great things about drawing is that if you let yourself get into it, you become intimately involved in what you're drawing. So in this case, it's kind of a privilege to draw all this because you have to think about each person, and when you're thinking that you're drawing, now they're not real people, but you have to draw them as if they were. So in some ways you feel very close to these individuals you're drawing, and even when you're unfortunately showing them being killed, it's sort of a strange feeling because you think about the family and the mother. I wanted to draw everyone like, yeah, this person had a mother. You can't pretend that it's not a violent, bloody place. But the good thing about drawing is it allows you to look at something that's horrible. If you see photographs of the same sorts of things I'm drawing, like body parts, that's very hard to look at. I mean, most of us, including myself, I turn the other way. I don't like looking at actual images of things like that. But a drawing is kind of a filter that gives you license to look somehow. And I don't want people to forget the amount of effort that went into horror, the amount of cooperation that goes into something like horror.